Hello everybody and welcome to the 2024 coverage of the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin Tyres. I'm John Hindorf and joining me in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre is Shea Adam. We'll hear from her in just a moment. As ever, it is a packed field of Mazda MX-5s who've been out to qualify and we had a ridiculously close qualifying session for the 28 cars. At the sharp end of the field, would you believe it, the top cars were separated by, well, literally a blink of an eye on 0.3 of a second between the top cars, the top 6 cars. It's a pretty short track around here, and there's a couple of good overtaking spots for Mazdas. Well, everywhere really for Mazdas, but up to the keyhole, down to turn 4 with China Beach ahead of you, and then if you're brave you can whip out to the right hand side coming through the carousel and then dive to the curve and try and almost block past your opponent. As I said, it was madness at the front of the field in terms of how close the timings were. Let's take a quick look at the Mazda starting grid. It's Aaron Johnson for JTR, who will start on pole position ahead of Gresham Wagner in second place, 24 and 5 then on the front row. Nathan Nicholson is the best of the rookies for JTR Motorsports Engineering, and the man with his name above the door, Jared Thomas, that's the JT of JTR, will make it 3 of his cars in the top 4 as he sits on the outside of row number 2. Ethan Jacobs is the second of the rookies for Advanced Auto Sports in 5th position in the number 7. Spatura doing double duty this weekend, just been out in another category. Well, he's got the Spark Performance car in 6th position. Quick change of overalls and a deep breath there, Alex. Woody Hyman is the JT Motorsports Engineering 82 on the inside of the 4th row. He's got Connor Zilic for company for BSI Racing. Nate Cicero, another driver who's just been out on the track in 9th. He's a McCumbee Macaleer Racing 83 pilot in this race. In 10th position is the 57 of Tyler Gonzalez for the Saito Motorsport Group. I expect him to go forward from that. Got time for a couple of more rows before we bring Shea in for the championship situation. Behind Tyler Gonzalez on row 6, James Hayosh and John Jordan. Grant West and Weston Workman. Weston, the third of the rookies, and not as far up the field as he would like for BSI Racing in the 13 car. Expect that purple and black car to come forward. Jeremy Fletcher, also just been out on the track. He's got Peter Water for company on row number 8. Julian DaCosta and Cody Powell make it an all-rookie row 9 with Sally Motts on the inside of row 10 and Jonathan Neudorf for BSR Racing. And as they're still not rolling, I've got a chance to go right through the field, which we don't often do. Behind Jonathan, it's Nick Schaefer and Parker DeLong. That's another all-rookie row on positions 21 and 22. Christian Hodenland and Heather Hadley for BSI Racing. They've got row 12. And in row 13, it's Brian Heitman and Joel Rainey, Farhan Siddiqui and Joe Rainey at the back of the grid on the 27th and 28th position. Shea Adam, welcome to the show. Welcome to our Super Saturday as we wait for the Whelen safety car to roll out. Actually, it is a pace car when it rolls out this time. You can bring us up to date with the situation in the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin as we move into the middle part, the clutch part of the season. How does it stand?
Well, it has been one heck of a championship so far this year with 6 races and 6 different race winners. The guy who's starting on pole today, Gresham Wagner, he's already won a race. His teammate who starts on the next row alongside of him, Nate Cicero, also a race winner. Connor Zilic, who lines up 3rd from today. Well, Connor Zilic has won everything he's entered this year, but not yet in the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup Championship. Does he change that today? In 4th position, John Jodouin, fantastic qualifying effort. This young man who is looking for redemption this weekend, pushing as hard as he possibly can to try and get his first ever podium finish. He could be a contender for a race win as well. And then Tyler Gonzalez, another one of those drivers who all he ever does is win. He's in this race with Jared Thomas, the two-time champion for company. Jared looking for a little bit of something to be set right after having a flat tire in qualifying meant that he got a great qualifying for today in P6, but unfortunately not a great lap for tomorrow's race. So today's race is going to be twofold for Jared Thomas because he needs to benefit of a fast lap to try and move himself up the grid for tomorrow's race. Another guy who had a really great qualifying effort and changing teams for this weekend, Julian DaCosta. He's one of our Rookie of the Year contenders. He's now with JTR Motorsports Engineering and very clearly comfortable working with them as the cars now roll off. We mentioned how Jeremy Fletcher just got a little bit of track experience. Well, he's not happy because he was the worst qualifying McCumbee McAleer teammate, and that's not a position that the young man who sits third in the championship points is used to being in. And then Weston Workman for BSI Racing in that 10th position. Weston, rookie, already a race winner this year back at Sebring International Raceway. So really interesting to see that those 10 cars getting ready to start today's race in the top 10 positions. A lot to play for, and a lot of people who maybe haven't yet shown their cards this year. They seem to have some little bit of extra magic here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We've got also further back in the field people to keep an eye on. Well, how about Nathan Nicholson, JTR Motorsports Engineering? They make up positions 16 through 21, all those cars from that one team. But Nathan Nicholson, great effort at Laguna Seca. The last time out at WeatherTech Raceway, he got 2 podium finishes, finishing second in both races. It vaulted him up to 5th in the championship. He is still looking for that first victory, and the young man who finished second in the Mazda Scholarship last year comes into this season with a big check, but he is looking for an even bigger one at the end of this season. It's $250,000, real cash money, there you go, as far as you can walk away with at the end of the championship. But for Nathan Nicholson, there's also that Rookie of the Year prize that he wants to get. He wants to be a Connor Zilic and be a threat to the championship and take the Rookie of the Year. Let's see if maybe today is when he continues down that path to try and get that money jump. Cars are doing a good job getting heat into their tires as they proceed around the lap. I think it is going to be one lap. The safety car, or pace car, as you rightly said, the Whalen pace car, will pull into the pit lane, but then the cars do not necessarily get to go racing because the start line is on the run into turn 3. So it means that Tani's got a bit of a journey on her hands. She's going to throw the green flag out on the backstretch in essence and then have to come over. But the time will start as they cross the finish line now for Gresham Wagner, as he's the first car to trip the beam. Great looking field as they still proceed around. Single line astern. They will line up 2 by 2 for the green flag, but that, as I said, it's still a couple of corners away. This is such a good-looking field, and the bright yellow car up the inside, got to mention Woody Hyman. He is a hometown hero, lives 69 miles away from this racetrack, gets to go home to his 2 kiddies every night, and that he has credited with finding a little bit of extra speed around this racetrack. It does make a difference, John.
Share Adam with the cars going round. My apologies. I have just seen the updated grid, and so Share, hopefully you put that right for me. But coming down to the green flag, Gresham Wagner leading them to the green flag with Nate Cicero alongside, and BSI's Connor Zilic in behind from McCumbee McAleer Racing's John Jodouin as Jared Thomas, Julian DaCosta, the best of the rookies, ahead of Ethan Jacobs, Jeremy Fletcher and West in 10th position, and they all went through in that order. Wagner and Cicero, the 2 McCumbee McAleer Racing teammates in the 5 and 83, trying to get ahead of the game. Right in the mix, Ethan Jacobson in the middle there, the 71 car. 45 minutes on the clock as we went to green flag, and already the 2 MMR cars that were on the front of the grid trying to break the toe. With Connor Zilic
already
right
up
in
to
there as
second,
well.
Christian Hodenland going for a ride at the end of the first lap, getting a little bit sideways and then being collected by some other cars. Now the start is under review as lap number 1, led by Gresham Wagner. This is important. There's 10 points for leading the most laps, and Wagner well aware of that. He was the champion a couple of years back, so he is trying to collect as many of those bonus points, the freebies if he can, as he can to try and make up positions in the championship. He went from 1st to 4th on the last race weekend. Got the 10 points so far for the pole position. There's another 10 points for leading the most laps and 10 further points for the fastest lap of the race. I'll keep you updated on all that as the race goes on. But Connor Zilic with a great start jumps up to 2nd ahead of Nate Cicero. The big thing that I'm keeping an eye on though, with the start under review, I think I saw Aaron Johnson move out of the column, and race control this weekend not being officiated by Randy Buck because he is up in Montreal. It is instead Bo Barfield who has stepped in as our race director, honorary race director for this weekend. So he will be looking back through the video to try and see, along with the assistance of Tom Wong, a man who knows Mazda very, very well, to try and keep an eye out for anybody who might be transgressing the laws, let's say. It's Wagner ahead of Zilic, then Cicero. Jared Thomas in 4th position with Tyler Gonzalez in 5th. Ethan Jacobs in 6th. And Ethan is a young man who very much impressed me. He was invited to the shootout and actually won a Spec MX-5 scholarship. Up until last weekend, he was leading the championship when they came to Mid-Ohio. Had a bit of bad luck here, trying to put that right straight away, but coming into the MX-5 championship and doing it well. Whelen with their eyes all over this young man to see what kind of a future he might have as Cicero goes back into 2nd, making a move, going into turn 3, and yes, a penalty has come up. It is for Joe Ringley in car number 17. This is father. There's also son who's driving the number 30, but Joe with a jump start, that will mean a drive-through penalty. He's going to need a yellow to try and get back into this race if he wants any chance of making it up into the top 10. Weston Workman, another one of the drivers with a very good start, up to 7. John Jadwan, not so good of a start. Remember, he was in the 4th position. He's now back to 8th, but he can stay calm and work his way back up toward the front of the field as Jared Thomas has entered the conversation as far as people who want to lead this race. We've got McCumbee McAleer, BSI Racing, JTR Motorsport Engineering, Sato Motorsport, and then Advanced Autosport. So 5 different teams within that top 6. Very good showing so far. Fastest car of the race that lap around was Julian DaCosta, but most importantly, it's another lap led for Gresham Wagner. As into the pit lane, serving the drive-through is Joe Rainey. Can check that off the list. And another car with a false start for changing lanes. That is a drive-through. Car number 25, that's Brian Heitman, another driver who comes back into the series this year. Let's get a replay of it. And oh yes, the light blue car just darting over to driver's left before crossing underneath the start stand. That is something that IMSA is very diligent about with all of its series. And it looked like there was a big jump there for Rainey. I haven't seen Heitman in yet, but I did see Rainey. My eyes open for that bright blue car. I was getting information that Heitman had served the penalty as well. We continue round. It is now 38.5 minutes to go on this race, and it is still Gresham Wagner, Nate Cicero leading the way. boy, you know, McCumbee-McAleer Racing had a really good showing in practice and a really good qualifying effort. There were several points that were taken off, several positions that were taken away because people lost their 2 fastest laps for going too slowly during qualifying as far as cooldown laps are concerned. And one of the McCumbee-McAleer cars was involved with that. That was Jeremy Fletcher. Now into the pit lane is Brian Heitman. So that is both of our penalties having been served, as Julian DaCosta is getting up the outside of car number 71. That's Ethan Jacobs. These two young men who know each other from being both invited to that Mazda shootout that I mentioned back in November. For DaCosta, it was an initial jump up into the championship, but now he has figured out that this is the team that he wants to be with, JTR Motorsports Engineering. The JT, Jared Thomas, 2-time defending series champion, the only repeat champion, and a man who's quite busy this weekend. I actually joked with Jared earlier in the weekend about what it would mean if he won this race, because there's a qualifying session immediately following. He plans on participating in that as Nathan Nicholson gets around Grant West. That was a really good move by the Whelen driver to earn another position. He was one of those involved who lost his 2 fastest laps because of going too slowly on a cooldown lap. So Nathan is trying to fight back up. Well, fight back up he has. He's now up into the 12th position as we get a look at Aaron Johnson, who was another one of those who lost the 2 fastest laps. Where has Aaron got to? Well, P13. And fun fact, Aaron Johnson won the race at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. He now has led more laps than anyone else in the season at 52. And he's got quite a bit of work left to do today to try and lead any more laps, as there was a wild moment going all 4 wheels off outside of turn number 1. The 2 cars involved, Christian Hodenland, and it's saying Arthur, that would be Joey Rainey, so another one of our newbies to the championship. As Weston Workman working his way forward, Tyler Gonzalez has dropped back now to P6, and Julian DaCosta is sizing up Tyler Gonzalez. That's very impressive driving from Julian, because, well, Tyler Gonzalez, he's a man who comes into this series, and much like Connor Zilic, wins a lot of races, takes a lot of championship points away when not necessarily doing a full season. Fastest lap of the race now goes to Nate Cicero. Speaking of taking points away, is that fast lap honor has now been deemed 5 times, and it has gone to 5 different drivers over the course of the race. And I expect it to keep going like that the entire way through. There's a bit of a battle brewing further back in the field. A lot of the blue cars seem to be gathering together, and normally blue cars means McCumbee-McAleer Racing, but with so many new liveries this weekend, it's not necessarily the case. But keep an eye on the orange and white car. If you're out around the track, that is Jared Thomas's livery. He debuted it last weekend, or the last time we were out racing, I should say, at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. This livery, which is a bit of a tribute livery to times gone by, it looks great, and I'm so pleased that it's back on the car, because Jared did semi-jokingly say he really likes it when other drivers can't easily identify his car. So maybe he was going to do an Austin Power kind of a thing, where he would just keep putting different liveries on underneath, and they would be stickers that he would pull off the car to keep the element of surprise. Well, nobody's surprised to see Jared Thomas in the front, and definitely not with the 96 with the orange and white stripes on it. But also Connor Zilic up there, who now holds the fastest lap of the race. But it is Gresham Wagner who has led every lap of this race so far, 6 laps in. And Gresham Wagner right now doing everything he possibly can to earn those 10 bonus points. As far as our championship was concerned, coming into today's race, it was Aaron Johnson as a result of the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca victory with 1,620 ahead of his team owner, JT, Jared Thomas. 1,590 for Thomas. Then the best in the McCumbee-McAleer cars with Jeremy Fletcher, 1,510. And then Gresham Wagner, who by starting today's race on that pole position, was up to 1,450. In 5th position, as I mentioned, Nathan Nicholson. And the best of the rookies with 1,370. So a very tight battle that we've got remaining. And with about halfway through the season after this weekend, we've got quite a bit to go.
33.5 minutes still to go as this round of the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup at the Mid-Ohio Sportscar course is settling in as much as Mazdas ever do. This is a reasonable appropriation of what we often see, a four-car group as it is getting away. Wagner, Zilich, Thomas and Cicero fighting among themselves. Will drag them back to the Tyler Gonzalez group in second as through goes Jared Thomas in the red and white car. Into second place. I think, Shea, this might be a little bit early for these guys to be starting to fight between 5 seconds between themselves and Gonzalez, and we've seen how quickly that can disappear if you start to get racing.
Yeah, and the biggest problem that they all have to remember is don't use up your tires too soon, because this is a track where people can go off and they can wind up stuck in the gravel. So getting that yellow, that is more likely than perhaps some of the other tracks we go to. Don't use all of your tire life early on in the race, because that second group is coming, and it's led by, oh yes, Tyler Gonzalez. So a very effective driver as far as catching back up to the leading quartet. And Nate Cicero, Jared Thomas, Connor Zilich, and Gresham Wagner are all drivers who are familiar with how to win races. They know that they need to calm it down a little bit, but knowing and doing are two very, very different things. Jared Thomas with the fastest lap of the race that time around. Yet another driver who goes purple. Love to see it.
Purple
and now he's having a look down the inside for the lead.
So Thomas still leading no, it's Gresham Wagner. No, it's Thomas that's still leading. Sorry, timing screen hasn't quite caught up yet with what I can see with my own eyes. Should always go with that first. Second bunch of cars really having a good scrap. Right in the middle of that, number 13 is Weston Workman in the purple and black car. He started in 10th position and he's worked his way up to 6th. So just trying to fight his way to the front of that second group, which is led at the moment by, well, Nathan Nicholson's in there. I can see that red and white car. So he's come up through the field as well. Wagner by a 10th, then 2 tenths to Jared Thomas. No, that's not right, is it? We'll wait for them to come across the line and get the timings to reset. A little bit of contact further back down the field, a moment or two ago.
It was a big hit from Weston Workman on the back of Jeremy Fletcher, and that's what actually precipitated a three-way battle between 3 different rookies, because Nathan Nicholson managing to get around Weston Workman, and then Weston trying to get around Ethan Jacobs. Really good battling and clean moves we're seeing from 3 of the young drivers that I know Mazda has their eye on for the future.
So Jared Thomas from Wagner. No, that's changed again, hasn't it?
Wagner now leads.
At the front now, it's Wagner who leads from Jared Thomas in seconds. The 72 of Connor Zilich is third. Julian DeCosta's put his fastest lap of the race in 5th position. And he is still the best of the rookies. That bit at least I've got right. Top 4 trying. Are they trying to work together? Are they trying to pull away? Or are they still battling with just under 30 minutes to go? It's a long way home from here. And that second group led as it is by Julian DaCosta, with Tyler Gonzalez and Jeremy Fletcher and Nathan Nicholson and Ethan Jacobs and Weston Workman and Aaron Johnson. There's some fast drivers in that second group as they go through the first corner. Tyler Gonzalez, always easy to spot, the white car with the green stripe down at the bonnet. He's second in that second baton pack. And these guys need to work together. Here comes the number 22 to driver's right, trying to make up positions. Jeremy Fletcher, almost peloton bicycle race style shade, trying to get to the front here and organise this chasing group to see if they can close that gap.
Well, and I was just going to say on our private chat there, John, that 5th down to 25th are all glued together on the racetrack. 23rd, maybe, I'll say glued together. But everyone is really running as this angry pack, this horde going around and around. And there's just no break for any of them because they continue to fight amongst themselves. We've got Aaron Johnson looking up the inside of Ethan Jacobs. Very clean move made there, but now Jacobs on the inside to cut back. Nope, he can't hang on. So that is another position gain for Aaron Johnson, our championship leader coming into today's race. But this group refuses to just cooperate and work together. That is to the advantage of our leading 4 cars.
Further back in the pack, Ethan Jacobs making a move and takes him onto the grass, and he almost sideswipes the number 50 of Grant West in the blue, yellow and white car. Somehow holds on to that. The number 50 car though will come up the inside. Here's West sitting in behind the light blue car is the 42 of Parker DeLong. As they cross the line, they're still wide, and eventually the 50 car goes through. Grant West then, Spark Performance, moves up a position. Weston Workman sitting at the back of that group and back to the inside for the number 22. Jeremy Fletcher, he is desperate to control that secondary group. My goodness me, that was very, very tight indeed. As Workman was right at the outside for a moment. Looked like it was surely going to be disaster for Ethan Jacobson. And it was good car control. Kept his foot in as well. I don't even think he lost a position yet.
No, he's a brave young man, is Ethan Jacobs. I met him at the shootout back in November. Very impressed with him then, and it was no surprise that Mazda elected to give him the Spec MX-5 scholarship, one of 3, and he has rewarded their faith so well. They still have a couple of rounds to go this season in that series, but he is definitely looking to the future and looking to try and make a name in this championship someday as well, the young man out of Washington. So very glad, Wisconsin. Very glad to see he and his dad yesterday in the paddock and have a good chat with them. This is definitely a place where we will see Ethan Jacobs' name in the future as another lap completed, another lap led by Gresham Wagner. That's all but 1 so far of today's race.
Down to 25 minutes to go, and you never know really when the decisive part of these races will be. It tends to be the run out the final corner to the line, to be brutally honest, as Wagner leads in the blue and black car. Their 4 have become 3, and off for the number 81, James Hayosh in the JTR Motorsports Engineering car. He was in 22nd position. Now there's a little bit of scuffage on the left arch, the left rear arch. Now he's in harm's way as he came through turn 1. He was already facing the wrong direction. Now, who was he right alongside? That was Heather Hadley, I think.
Jonathan Neudorf?
Or was it Jonathan Neudorf who was closest to him? Looking to see if there's any damage. The car is back on the track. It's a sort of linen or cream coloured car. Very classic colour scheme, that. Moving again, but has lost a lot of ground. And at the outside of turn 1 here is not somewhere you want to be, and there's some kind of smoke or debris from one of the cars as they were going into the carousel, so that's something we're going to have to look at. 23 minutes to go, and off for the 42. And that blue car was right in the fight for Parker DeLong, just on the outskirts of the top 10. That light blue car was in the mix. And again, that was the car that I saw. That I thought it was dust for a moment, but maybe it was something more sinister. And maybe something coming out of the back of the car. I wonder if he's... Well, he's gone off. That's what it was. He went off the circuit, and that dust was him coming back on, I think, Shea, and spraying that back onto the track here at Mid-Ohio.
I think you're right on that, John. And for Parker DeLong, he has made it into the pit lane. That's the good news. So the crew will have an opportunity to take a look at that car. But that is a new car, and with Bennett Trucking on the side, it's a private trucking company here in the United States, new sponsor for Parker as well. So he would have been looking to do a good job for them. The good news is he still has one more race to make that good impression with tomorrow's contest. And that's another thing that these drivers need to keep in the back of their mind. Don't wreck your cars, guys. There's more points on the line for tomorrow as well.
Checking in with the second group then, led by Jeremy Fletcher. He is at the front of that grid now, and he has a gap of 6 seconds between himself and Nate Cicero, 8.5 between Cicero and the leading trio, and Jared Thomas has just put in the fastest lap of the race. In fact, all of the top three have put in their fastest laps. Jared, excuse me, just a little faster than Gresham and Connor. 136.0 for the leader, 136.0 for Jared, 136.1 for Connor Zilic. We are talking about 34 milliseconds quicker for Jared Thomas, and he at the moment has the fastest lap, which will get him those points. Tyler Gonzalez trying to go up the inside at the hairpin at the top of the hill. The number 57. Saito Motorsport Group, Aaron Johnson in there as well. They, I think, as they went in, so they came out. And Jeremy has now got away in that blue, black and white car from this little pack. They will come back towards him. They must work together. There is no point in having those kind of fights if they want to use this 25, 26 minutes, 24 minutes, 21 minutes.
21.
Yeah, usefully. Meantime, the leading three. Oh, yes, indeed. Meantime, the leading three. Oh, now a little bump there. Jared Thomas on the leader. Required the application of some corrective opposite lock by Gresham Wagner, who leads another lap. Who's going to get the extra points for most laps led, Shay?
Gresham Wagner firmly taking control of that. He's led 14 of the 15 so far, and with less time on the clock than we had to begin the race and no yellow in the first half, that means that Gresham Wagner, 10 bonus points for pole, 10 bonus points for most laps led. Ooh, there is a big chunk of debris out on the race course on the final turn. Now, who did that come from? That would be Alex Bashura.
Yeah. And Alex was ushered into that situation, i.e. going very wide, by about the brightest car on the track, Shay. I don't think there's any hiding from that one, is there?
Sorry, Woody Hyman, convicted and guilty as charged on that one. But those two drivers, those guys have been racing each other a long time. Alex Bashura, who's got the most starts ever in this series, and Woody Hyman, who is very proud of how many consecutive starts he's been able to make in this series. He actually was involved in a very big crash last year at Watkins Glen, you might remember, John. Broke a couple of ribs, didn't miss a race. Woody is that kind of crazy. He loves racing in this series, and he would love nothing more than to get a podium position here at his home track. But for him, just running in the top 10, that also feels like a win. Doesn't feel like a win to any of these three guys unless they're on the top step of the podium. And as I mentioned, Connor Zilic, winner of the 24 Hours of Daytona in January, the 12 Hours of Sebring in March. He won a truck race. He's won just about every ARCA race he's entered in this year. Third in a couple of them. I know Alyssa will be listening and correct me on that. But Connor Zilic has yet to win a Mazda race. He wants to fix that in about 18 and a half minutes.
Now the battle continues at the sharp end of the field. They must feel pretty secure with the gap that they've got. There's 3 seconds back to Nate Cicero, and then another 6.5, so that's 10 seconds really on the bulk of the pack. And there's a little bit of side-by-side action as Jared Thomas in the red and white Chevron car in second place is having that scrap with the 72 of Connor Zilic, who was, until the moment of de facto I started that sentence, he was in second place. And this is manna from heaven for the number 5 car of Gresham Wagner. It is incredible how quickly you can build or lose a lead by working together or not working together, Shea. These cars cut a big hole in the air because of that open top nature and because of the FIA roll cage that sits up in the airflow. And these guys fighting for second and third at the moment is handing a substantial advantage in Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup terms to the leader, Gresham Wagner.
I'm loving this. We started off the lap with Connor Zilic in third position. He had just set the fastest lap of the race, taking those bonus points. His Sector 1 was a personal best, and then he caught up to Jared Thomas, and the battling began. He lost a 10th in Sector 2 and nearly a 10th in Sector 3, and all that came from that battling that you were just talking about, John. But now he's doing it again. Connor Zilic has figured out Turn 1 better than anyone else, and is purple again through Sector 1. He's got the speed, but can he make the pass?
Well, he's got 16 minutes and 44, 43, 42. The battles through the field continue, and now Aaron Johnson has got ahead of Jeremy Fletcher and leads. I was about to say a 4-car group. Yeah, I'm going to still say a 4-car group. As Johnson and Jeremy Fletcher, really good run for Julian DaCosta, who's right in there, as is Nathan Nicholson. Those two JTR guys in the 78 to 56. They are battling through, and those two rookies are battling for top rookie spot there in 8th and 9th position. Under 16 minutes to go. The top 3 not quite back together yet, but for the moment, the aggression between Thomas and Zilic, 2nd and 3rd, seems to, well, there's a bit of a truce. Not sure how long that will last, but they are a little bit closer to the leader, Gresham Wagner, go up the hill.
Does he make another move down the inside at the keyhole? Well, he thinks about it. He makes a late lunge and then dives back into place, does Connor Zilic. So not that time around, but once again, he resets the fastest lap of the race. The previous time was a 35.772 for the number 72. This time it's a 35.684. So speed, more speed being found by these race cars as the race goes on. They are getting lighter, and this just goes to show you that the Michelin tire wear, it's minimal in this series. You get what you pay for when you come to run in Mazda, and the best part of the whole thing, they pay you back. $6,000 for winning a race, 5 for second, 4 for third, pays all the way down to 10th place. You get $2,000 if you're the best finishing woman, and then of course the end of season prize, $250 grand. This is a place where racing rewards you.
And that is not a contingency payout that you have to spend in the series the next year. You could go and buy yourself, put a deposit on a house, you could go and buy yourself a nice road car, or you could come back racing, because it is sheer
real cash money.
Shea is now contractually obliged to say that at least once every Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup race for the madly enthusiastic social media and fan groups, particularly our WEC and the Reddit groups and the Discord groups, who are big fans of this type of... Who wouldn't be? Let's be honest. Who wouldn't be? Zilich and Thomas have swapped places again. Let's not get too excited about that because we've still got 13 and a half minutes to go. And I suspect, I mean, if somebody wants to put an over and under on how many more times those two will swap before the end of the race, with the amount of times we've got, you know, it's got to be. Oh, Tyler Gonzalez into the pit, Shea Adam. Championship implications here.
He's just pulled in straight across from me, and Tyler Gonzalez, I mentioned, a previous race winner. He's out of his race car, so this will be another non-finish for the Sato Motorsports Group. This is heartbreaking. They just wanted to get through this race with no penalties. At this point, they're not going to get through the race, but this is devastating for the guy who came into the race weekend 8th in points.
Alex Bachera in the darker coloured car, Woody Hyman in the brightest coloured car, highlight a yellow 82. They are battling for 16th and 7th position, I think. They're 15th, 16th, 17th. For JTR, Peter Atwater's there as well, sitting in behind them. So another little 5-car battle pack. This is the joy of Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin, that you will find somebody to race with. All of those drivers, I would say, are capable of running. Certainly Alex Bachera and Woody, Peter Atwater too, certainly easily capable of running in the top 15, possibly even in the top 10 on pace. But they've mired themselves on a wee battle down towards the bottom end of the top 20. At the front of the field, it's now 10 seconds between Aaron Johnson, who leads the chasing pack. Nate Cicero rather in no man's land at the moment, and as there's some lap traffic in there as well. So Cicero 5 seconds behind the leaders, 5 seconds in front of Johnson in 5th position. Wagner for Baglia, BSI's Colin Zilich and the JTR Motorsport car are the top 3, and battles all the way through the field for an extra point here or there.
My hat is off to Aaron Johnson with what he's been able to do from today's race. When in qualifying, he lost his 2 fastest laps for driving too slowly, in effect, on a cool-down lap. That meant that he went way back into the field, started mired in a position way further than he was used to, at least from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, where he sat on pole for both of the races. Johnson has been on a comeback drive, and to get up to P5 in such a competitive field, excellent, excellent job from the young man who originally was from Louisiana and now calls California home.
Shea Adam with me, John Hindhaugh in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre. 10 and a half minutes to go. 35, 34, 33, 32 seconds. Headlights flashing rather optimistically, I think, there from Aaron Johnson. He's one of the bigger movers, up to 5th from 17th, as Shea's just mentioned. I'm not sure who's flashing lights at, because Nate Cicero is 5 seconds, make that 4 seconds up the road, because Johnson, Jeremy Fletcher and Julian DaCosta have all put in laps that are half a second quicker than Nate Cicero ahead. So maybe this is the charge forward. Maybe this is Johnson and Fletcher getting themselves organ to come through this traffic. It's the traffic they were flashing at. So Joe Rayner, Brian Heitman, James Hayashi in the car, all about to be lapped. That's a nice move, pulling out of the way.
Yeah.
To make sure that I thought it was Joe Rainey in the 17. Yeah. Sure they didn't get involved in a battle that was not theirs. So Shea, this little battle at the bottom end of the top 20. At the front, we've got Gresham Wagner, Connor Zilich and Jared Thomas, separated by half a second. Jared Thomas now has the fastest lap, but Johnson, Fletcher, DaCosta, Nicholson and Workman all putting in times that are at least as quick, if not faster, than the leaders. Have they left it too late? There's only 9 minutes to go.
At this point, no, they haven't left it too late because they're still trying. But the thing that just made me giggle was when he read off the names, and I'm thinking, rookie, rookie, rookie. this is learning by fire for some of these youngsters. As here we go, there's a move around the outside going into turn 3. It's going to be Zilic attempting it on Wagner. He's trying to bring Jared Thomas with him. He gets through, but Jared Thomas, no, not quite enough. Wagner is able to hold on to second. Is this too soon for Zilic, though? Does this now allow Wagner to get an opportunity to follow, learn what his car is like in traffic, and more importantly, figure out where to make that winning pass?
Well, you mentioned a little while ago, around about 12, 13 minutes ago, actually, that Gresham Wagner was nailed on for the leading the most lap points. So he doesn't have to sit out front anymore now. He's got those. They're in the bank. And even if he doesn't finish, he'll still get those. The only way he could lose them is if he was had a technical DQ in post-race tech. And we don't wish that on anybody, of course. So across the line, 7 3/4 minutes to go. Now, who is playing the strategy? Who's playing the mind games here? As they go through turn 1, riding the curbs on the exit, just allowing that slightly raised yellow and red curb to straighten them up just a tiny bit. I like the look of Thomas's car in third position here, you know. I think he's held on to his Michelin tyres really well. He's able to track different lines from the leaders through the faster and actually the slower corners. And that possibly means that he's just biding his time and he's got a bit of extra performance. They're starting to go at it again here. 7 minutes to go and the fight for the top step of the box is on. We have lit the blue touch paper. Let's just wait for the fireworks to explode.
I'm loving this. Connor Zilic is one of the most successfully aggressive drivers in this series. He's got respect from his competitors, but he does race with his elbows out. See above comment for Gresham Wagner as well. So I'm really enjoying seeing these two going at it very cleanly so far. Maybe a love tap here or there, but this is just fantastic to see these two drivers at the top of their games trying to hold off the two-time and defending champion Jared Thomas, who I joked with yesterday, hey buddy, you can't win this race because then you would have to go on the podium, spray the champagne, do the hat dance, all that fun stuff, and you got to go qualify another car. And he's going, yeah, that would be a problem. I don't think he cares at this point, John.
No, absolutely not. Get one of the mechanics to go and stand up there for him, who put the hard work in if necessary. So the top 3 are Connor Zilic, Gresham Wagner and Thomas. My money is that they will not finish in that order. Not because I have any particular favourite among them. That's just MX-5 Cup. It's not the way of the world that things stay the same for very long at all. I'm keeping an eye as well on that gap between Aaron Johnson and Zero. It's down under 2.5 seconds. So Johnson, Fletcher, Dick Nicholson coming in a train formation. Keeping an eye on the leaders here. Still first, second, third, down through turn 4. China Beach on the left, over the top of the rise now through 5 and 6. And they're still following in each other's wheel tracks. But still, to me, Thomas not needing to use as much road on the way in or the way out of the corners. That suggests to me he's just getting air onto the front of his Mazda. And Aaron Johnson is definitely closing the gap. He took a little bit of time, nearly half a second again out of Nate Cicero. Nate not really losing that much time to leaders. He was 5 seconds away about, 7 or 8 minutes ago. He's now only 6 seconds away from but the 5 seconds that he had to the chasing third group, as if you will, that's gone down from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. Aaron Johnson, having got to the front of that grid in the black and blue number 24, with backup from McCumbin Racing's Jeremy Foster, and then 2 more JTR rookies, not that far away either, in DeCosta, Nathan Nicholson. That train of cars working together, and they now can see the row at the front of the field. The 72 red and white car is still Connor Zilic leading the black and blue Gresham Wagner car. Jared Thomas in the chevron red and white in third. 12 wheels of Mazda MX-5. It's a classic drafting overtake round the outside, the driver's left. Who did Thomas choose to push? First of all, he pushed Connor Zilic, and he'll keep Connor Zilic in the lead by doing that. I say push, it was an aero push. There might have been a little bit of bump drafting, not unheard of in these cars, and race control won't mind that. Oh, huge slide from the leader, Connor Zilic. Maybe overheating then his Michelin tyres at the back of this car. I was just about to say that race control won't mind a little bump drafting on the straight, but not through the corners. Side by side for the lead. Here comes Wagner. Goes back through again. Told you these positions would change. Nothing is status quo very long, and Zilic back in the lead. He slides wide, but holds on to it just about. Throws a few bits of dust and rock at the two drivers behind him. As they come to the line this time, Shea, there'll be 3 minutes to go.
Which means we're going to get at least 2 more laps of this left to enjoy of this race. And you rightly said at the beginning of the show, John, the track map, passing opportunities everywhere around this circuit, that was just given to us. An example, that entire lap through, Connor Zilic, Gresham Wagner, and Jared Thomas, even there, making decisions about who to help and where to try and make this pass for the win. Now, Jared Thomas is not the kind of guy to just sit back and let other people do the dirty work. He's not going to let Gresham and Connor take themselves out because he's not going to risk that that's going to happen. So we need to keep an eye on that number 96 because JTR Motorsport Engineering, they know how to win races and championships, and Jared, for sure, trying to pick his line. This time, coming into turn 3, it looks like he's going to back Gresham Wagner.
3 different teams here. Aaron Johnson leading the charge in 5th place, Cicero, and that is a battle that's on now. But how can we look away from the battle for the top 3 spots? I'll keep an eye on timing behind. They're actually closing in on the leader. Nate Cicero is closing in. It's now under 5 seconds. He's got half a second on Aaron Johnson. There's no gaps at all between Johnson, Fletcher, DeCosta and Nicholson, battling for top rookie, by the way. And then about 6 seconds to Weston Workman. Side by side again, and a huge slide. He's never going to hold on to that, but he has, and that he was Gresham Wagner. The Michelin tyres crying in protest as he got offline going into the carousel and drifted maybe half to a full MX-5 width too far, and at that point he had to come out of the throttle and just try and hold on to it. He's lost a place but no ground. White flag did come out as we were describing that slide. The leading pair are together. Nate Cicero's going to lose 4th position here because Aaron Johnson and Jeremy Fletcher are right with him. So 2 sets of battling Mazdas, a 3 and a 5 for the top 8 positions, side by side behind the leader. Connor Zilic at the moment has both mirrors full of Mazdas, to the right, to the left, down towards the heavy braking area at the bottom of the hill into turn 4. Man, that's a long way back for the number 96 of Jared Thomas from 2nd. He can't make that one happen. But now it's Wagner in 3rd place who gets to pick his line. Wagner in 3rd place, looking left and right. Maybe it was just the fact that Thomas was behind those 2. I thought he might have had more Michelin tyre before, but maybe he could just pick his line. We've got half a lap left now.
The battle is still on as Connor Zilic still in the lead of this race. We've got Jared Thomas in 2nd, Gresham Wagner in 3rd. Thomas keeping it tight to the inside, trying to make the move, but it's not going to be enough as they come through the final turn. Open the hands, and race number 7 is winner number 7. Welcome to the winner's circle for 2024 at the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup. It is you, Connor Zilic. Whalen Engineering will be so proud because once again, another race winner. Connor has come into this series and been a serious force. As further back in the field, there's a spinner. It's Cody Powell in the number 6, but he manages to recover. That's going to be several positions lost. Connor Zilic, Jared Thomas in 2nd, Gresham Wagner in 3rd. Nate Cicero did hold on to 4th, and Aaron Johnson bringing it home in 5th. Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup delivering once again, coming into the final complex of corners after that final opportunity. Oh no, and it was Woody Hyman again involved, this time with Cody Powell. It was a warning that Woody got for the contact with Bashura. Race control will take a look at that as well. But for our victor, once again, BSI Racing, Connor Zilic doing a bit of off-road driving. He's so happy to be a winner in this series once again. He knows how much it means to him. What a great result. And you know who's going to be very pleased about this? Jared Thomas. Even though he comes home in that second position, he should inherit the championship lead because he finished just ahead of Gresham Wagner, who should move up into the third position ahead of Jeremy Fletcher. Actually, yeah, he should get Fletcher just there, but Thomas with the 10 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race as well. This is a victory lap for Connor Zilic. He's done several of these before in his life. He knows what it's all about to win the races, and it doesn't get any less sweet for him. First win of the year, it's his 7th in the last 14 months in this championship. So Connor Zilic very, very much celebrated. And as he pulls into the pit lane, his team is there to celebrate with him. He's going to be doing a special BSI-based celebration that they have. Shay Holbrook, one of the team owners, has said that for all of their drivers, when they get to the podium in the top step, they have to take the champagne bottle, straight arm, raise it in the air, and pour it in their mouth. And if they happen to miss and get it all over their face, well, that's their fault. But excellent job for Connor Zilic. So just another look at those final results. Another great race. 7 different winners across 7 races in Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup. That's what we've got for you for this year. Another good finish as well for Sally Mott, up into 13th. She was the best finishing woman. Once again, I believe that's more than half the races this year. She's earned that title. All 28 cars that we had at the beginning of the weekend started the race, but only 26 of them finished, and 24 of them finished on the lead lap. So Jared Thomas, I know you can hear me, buddy. Championship points leader after that one. Congratulations on that. But as for our race winner, congrats Connor Zilic, and welcome back to the series. Gresham Wagner bringing the car home in third. Best of our rookies, should say. Julian DaCosta, what a fantastic result for that young man. Switched teams this weekend, running with JTR Motorsport Engineering, and they rewarded him with a good car. He rewarded them with good faith and good points. Well, we still have one more race on the weekend, so please come back and join us tomorrow. See if we can get our 8th different race winner in 8 events so far on the year. But today was full of action and adventure, off-roading adventure in some cases, really good passes, enough to keep the fans entertained. So we had a blast here on IMSA Radio. On behalf of John Hindhoff, I'm Shay Adam. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again tomorrow for some more Mazda goodness.